is about coming out advice. This is mine. I wonder if it's obvious that I'm in the tub. I don't have time to not be in the tub right now. Probably not a very good excuse. So, coming out advice. I'll tell you a little bit about how I came out. I came out as trans, and my first few reactions were mostly people going, "Really? Are you sure?" And one person going, "I already knew." Not exactly the reaction I was thinking I was gonna get. Nobody really switched pronouns or name for me, which was really frustrating for me, because I felt like I was going crazy being the only one who called myself my name and used my pronoun, because like no one else respected that, which kind of sucked. I didn't tell my parents for a really long time. When I was 16, they found out by reading my internet history. I was going to tell them like the morning they found out though, I swear. I'd spent the whole night before writing my coming out speech, and then they stormed in my bedroom and were like, "Why didn't you tell us?" And I was like, "Because I was terrified," and for good reason. 6 months later, they basically made me choose between living as trans and staying home, or not living home at all. And I was freshly 17. They had been making sure I couldn't wear male clothing, cut me off from support groups, cut me off from a counselor, because they were all trying to brainwash me into being trans, cut me off from the internet because my internet friends were nice about it and actually did use the correct pronoun and name. So yeah, 6 months later, I was seeing this other trans guy and they flipped out and were like, "Well, you can either stay here and be our daughter, or you can get lost." I'm gonna get lost, because I'm not no daughter. Except for I didn't talk like that. And then my mother was like, "Go live in your misery." And I was like, "Okay, bye. I'll see you later." I walked away with all the stuff I could carry on my back. I went over to this girl's house and I chilled with her. And pretty soon everyone at school found out. So I was just like the tranny at school. Then I was out in school, which really sucked. And my school, the principal said the teachers couldn't call me Mark because my parents might sue. So the teachers weren't allowed to acknowledge my gender identity. And I had to use the accessible bathroom, and I got teased a lot and called a dyke. My coming out experience was not exactly pleasant. Things are a lot better now that I'm out of high school, especially now that I'm on T and post-op and living with a boyfriend in Toronto. Right around the end of high school, I made some really awesome friends outside of high school. Thanks to them, pretty much, my life has been awesome, because every time things got kind of crappy, we were really good at being there for each other. I think that's my advice about coming out, because a lot of people this week have already told you a lot of stuff, and I'm just going to reiterate, like, yeah, write a letter, that's what I'd recommend. And don't come out till you're ready, but if it's killing you, go ahead. Always have a backup plan just in case your parents do flip out, but try to make it clear to them that, like, or whoever you're coming out to, that you're not going anywhere. You're becoming more there, because people think that trans people, when they come out, are replacing the person. My grandparents thought that when I was going to transition, the grandchild they loved all of their life was going to disappear and some stranger was going to be there. And what they realize now is I'm still the same person. I'm even more of the same person because I'm able to be myself more. And they love that. They love me. Just try to make that clear to whoever you're coming out to. If it's someone who loves you, just remind them. My biggest advice, try to find supportive friends. Go to a local queer center, go online if you can. If you find people you can lean on, especially if you can have them in real life, which is a big help, it gets a lot easier, because even in your shittiest times, you can have someone to call and just be like, "I need to talk," and usually they'll listen. And then you have someone to laugh with when things are fun and you don't feel totally ostracized. If you can find someone who really respects your gender identity, who is also a really good friend, you can sort of lean on them during coming out and everything. And if anybody reacts badly, they're there for you. I don't care if it's like someone from your school, if there's someone at your school who's that cool, or from outside your school, if they're from the gay bar, or if they're from a queer youth group, or if they're your counselor, or if it's your grandma. Whoever it is, you know? Before I found my current best friends, I was best friends with my dog when I lived with my family, because my dog was the only one who would listen. She also used to watch me talk to myself a lot, which I'm thinking everyone in the house thinks I'm doing right now by myself in the bathroom. Okay. Other coming out advice would be, like, always have a backup, just in case anything happens. Keep a backup bag with all the essentials, and have a friend who you can go chill at, or check where the local queer shelters are, or queer youth centers are, like somewhere you can go. I think that's a lot safer than just at the last minute getting the boot and then having to throw all your stuff together in one bag, because I I miss a lot of stuff from my parents' house that I can't have back. Yeah, my parents and I still don't talk, by the way. It's been over 2 years. They still don't respect my gender identity, and I don't really respect them for throwing me out. We're kind of at an impasse right now. I don't know. My dad and I tried to talk for a while, but when he found out I was for reals transitioning, he freaked. That's another thing for you guys. If you come out to someone once before you transition, and they're cool about it, something I've learned is when you come out to them and tell them, hey, I'm actually transitioning now. I'm starting T or estrogen if you're a trans woman, and I'm getting surgery, then they have a tendency to flip out. Not all the time, but sometimes. My grandfather, for instance, when I'd been out to him for almost 2 years, and I was like, "Hey, I'm starting T," and he's like, "I was like, and I'm getting surgery in June," and he's like, he flipped. He started yelling and screaming and said some very mean things. People might freak out the second time you tell them once you're actually transitioning, because people have this habit of not thinking it's real till you're actually doing it, which I know is the stupidest thing ever, and we all know better, but for some reason they don't, and I don't know why. Yeah, otherwise, coming out advice, stay tough in high school. Like, that's the worst. High school is crap, but you can make it through it for sure. So if you decide to come out in high school, prepare for people to be assholes about it, but educate yourself. Say something back, or if you really need to, go get a teacher if it's getting threatening. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself, but also get the proper authorities involved if they will be involved if you think it's going to be helpful. I would have totally gone to my principal with some of the harassment I was experiencing if I thought he would have done anything about it. Get resources, get education about the subject, because you're going to get a lot of questions. You don't have to answer them, but I like to because I like to teach people. And I'm like, hey, you don't know this thing. Let me tell you about it, kinda. Try to be as comfortable as you can with yourself because when you come out, you might hear some mean things, but you need to know that it's okay and that you know who you are and you know how you are and you're not any of those mean things. As long as you can keep that in mind, you can stay sane during the whole thing. Next thing you know, you'll